Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are stepping into the fascinating world of vascular surgery and artificial intelligence.
Ooh, exciting.
It is. But don't worry, listeners,
Yeah.
no medical degree are required
Right.
to follow along. We're going to explore how AI could help doctors predict the success of a procedure used to treat something called an abdominal aortic aneurysm.
Okay.
You ever heard of that?
I have, yeah. You might know it as an AAA.
AAA.
Yeah. It's basically a bulge in the aorta, the big blood vessel that carries blood from your heart
Oh, wow.
to the rest of the body.
Okay.
And it might sound a bit obscure, but
Yeah.
AAAs are a pretty serious health concern.
Right. And thankfully, there's a minimally invasive procedure called EVR, which can help.
Yes.
That stands for endovascular aneurysm repair.
Right.
But for our listeners out there, could you maybe explain what that is?
Yeah, so it's kind of like if you have like a weak spot in a pipe and you want to reinforce it before it bursts,
Yep.
but instead of a pipe, it's your aorta.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like a little stent that they
Right.
put in
Yeah.
to reinforce that area.
Okay, so EVAR has really improved treatment for AAAs.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah,
not all AAAs shrink after EVAR,
exactly.
and that can lead to more complications.
Absolutely. And that's where AI comes in.
Yeah, how so?
So wouldn't it be amazing if we could predict which AAAs are most likely to shrink after they have the EVAR?
Yeah.
That way doctors could really personalize treatment plans and maybe even avoid unnecessary procedures
Right.
or like extra follow-up appointments.
That makes a lot of sense. So tell me more about this AI detective work.
So researchers are developing what's called a multimodal AI model.
Hmm.
And that basically just means the AI is looking at information from all these different sources.
Okay.
So it's like a detective piecing together clues from different sources.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. And they're using all that information to try to solve this mystery. Will it shrink or not?
Okay. So what kind of information are we talking about here?
So this study is gathering data on about 1,000 patients from 5 different medical centers.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. So first, they get the basic information like age, medical history, medications, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're also analyzing detailed scans
Oh,
of the AAA before and after
oh wow.
the EVAR. So they're looking at the size, the shape, even the location of blood clots.
Oh, wow. That's very specific.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And even they're looking at the biomechanics.
Hold on. What is biomechanics?
So biomechanics is basically looking at the forces
Okay.
that are acting on the aneurysm.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you like blow up a balloon too much, it's more likely to pop, right? So it's
Mhm.
kind of like measuring how much pressure is inside that balloon.
Oh, so like the structural integrity of
exactly.
the
And
aneurysm?
see how stable it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the AI is looking at a ton of different factors to make these predictions. But what makes this study even more fascinating is that they're really focused on making the AI's reasoning clear.
Coherent. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just like a black box spitting out an answer.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So they're using techniques from Explainable AI.
Okay.
So they can actually understand why the AI is making certain predictions.
Okay.
It helps doctors make more informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And it also builds trust in the technology.
So it's about showing its work.
Yeah.
Showing how it got there.
Exactly.
And it's not just about, saying this AAA is likely to shrink,
Right.
but why?
Exactly.
This is really cool. What does this mean for someone living within AAA?
Well, imagine you're told you have this AAA, you need to get this EVR procedure.
Yeah.
But right now, you don't know for sure if it's actually going to fix the problem.
Right.
But with this new AI, doctors could potentially say, based on all this information about you, we're very confident that it's going to shrink. You're on the road to recovery.
Yeah.
So, you can just kind of relax a little bit.
Wow. That would be huge for people going through this. That peace of mind.
Totally.
Knowing that things are going well.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So for those whose AAAs are less likely to shrink,
Yeah.
doctors could use the AI to recommend adjustments to the procedure
Absolutely.
or suggest other therapies
Wait, to improve the odds.
to give everyone the best chance
Exactly.
of a good outcome. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is a really exciting development.
It is.
And this AI,
Yeah.
it's not meant to replace doctors.
No, not at all.
It's a new tool to help personalize care.
Exactly. It's just giving them another piece of information
Yeah.
to use when they're making their decisions.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Okay.
This research is still ongoing.
Right.
What are some of the next steps in proving that this AI can deliver on its promise?
Well, the researchers still have a lot of data to analyze.
Okay.
They have to rigorously test the accuracy of their predictions.
That makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
eager to see what they discover.
Me too. It's very promising.
It sounds like we are on the cusp of a major breakthrough
It really does.
in AAA treatment.
Right.
And this study focuses on that first year
Mm-hmm.
after EVR.
Right.
But the potential goes far beyond that.
It does.
So you're thinking long term.
Yes.
I like it. What else could this be used for down the road?
I think one really exciting possibility is using AI to predict who might develop in AAA in the first place.
So we're talking preventative.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine being able to identify people at high risk
Okay.
and intervene early to prevent it from happening.
So before the AAA even forms.
Exactly.
That would be amazing.
It would be a game changer.
Wow, this is incredible. And that's a big step in that direction.
It is.
From treatment to prevention.
Yeah.
This is great. I am absolutely buzzing with excitement about all this.
Me too.
This deep dive is already blowing my mind.
I know, it's so cool.
And we're just getting started. We'll be back after a quick message to delve even deeper into the potential of AI in AAA treatment.
That sounds good.
Stay tuned.
All right.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking all about this really amazing AI that could potentially predict how an AAA will behave after EVA. It all comes down to data. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, for sure. But it's not just about having a ton of data. It's about having the right kind of data.
Oh, okay.
And this study is taking what they call a multimodal approach, meaning they're looking at information from a bunch of different places to try to get the most complete picture.
Oh, I see. So what are those key areas that they're focusing on?
Well, first off, they get all that basic information about the patient, the
Yeah.
demographics, things like age, gender, smoking history, any other health conditions.
Okay.
That helps them get a sense of their overall health.
So it's like a baseline for each patient.
Exactly. And then they look specifically at the medications they're taking.
Right.
Because some medications, like those used to manage blood pressure or cholesterol, could actually impact how the AAA responds to the treatment.
That makes sense. It's all about understanding those individual factors.
Right. And of course, they get all the details about the EVR procedure itself.
Okay.
Things like what type of endograft was used, that's that little device they use to support the aorta,
Right.
and any challenges the surgeon might have faced during the procedure.
That's pretty amazing that they're taking all these little details into account.
Yeah, and we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
There's more. They're also looking at images of the AAA,
Oh, wow.
both before and after EVAR,
What kind of images?
like CT scans and ultrasounds.
Okay.
And those images let them track the changes in size and shape and if there's any blood clots.
So like they're watching a movie, like a time lapse
Exactly. It really is.
of how the AAA is behaving.
Yeah, and remember we talked about that biomechanics concept.
Oh, right. The structural integrity.
Right. They're using these really advanced techniques to look at the forces on the aneurysm wall.
Right. So how much pressure can that balloon take?
Yeah. And lastly, they're tracking the patient's progress after the EVR.
Okay.
They're watching for any complications, if they need another procedure, and of course, how the AAA continues to change over time.
That's really cool. It seems like a really comprehensive approach. They're thinking of everything.
Yeah, they really are.
And by feeding all this data to the AI,
Uh-huh.
they're basically teaching it to predict which AAAs will shrink.
Exactly. They're teaching it to recognize the patterns.
Oh, I like that.
Just like you train a detective to look for clues.
So the AI learns from all this information
Yeah,
to make predictions about future patients.
exactly.
But what I think is really interesting
Yeah.
is that this research is focused on explainable AI.
Yes. It's so important.
So the AI doesn't just spit out an answer.
Right.
It explains how it got there.
Right.
We were talking about AI as a black box. Like, how does this explainable AI work?
So basically, they use a bunch of techniques to make it more transparent. For example, it can show you which factors were most important in making the prediction.
So it can say, this AAA is likely to shrink, and here's why.
Yeah. And that lets doctors understand the logic behind it. It builds trust.
Makes sense.
And they can have better conversations with their patients.
About the treatment plan.
Yeah, about the risks and benefits.
Right, so it's really about empowering the doctors and the patients.
Absolutely. And I think it can even help us better understand AAAs themselves.
Okay.
We might learn why some shrink after EVR and some don't.
So this could have impacts beyond just improving treatment.
Right. We might learn something new.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
This is still ongoing research.
Right, we have to validate these findings
Okay.
and see if it works in the real world.
We need to make sure this AI really can do what we hope.
Absolutely.
But imagine if it does.
It would be incredible.
What would that look like?
Doctors could confidently say to their patients, "We're sure your AAA is going to shrink after the EVAR. You're on the right path."
Oh, wow.
And that certainty would be huge for so many people.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It would be life-changing for a lot of people.
Yeah. And it shows how AI can help personalize healthcare.
That's so cool. This has been a really great deep dive.
It has.
But before we go too far,
Yeah.
we need to talk about how this research could really change things.
Right. What would the impact actually be?
We'll be back after a short message to explore that question, so stay with us. Welcome back. We've spent this whole episode talking about how AI could change the way we treat AAAs. It's all very promising, but how would this actually change things for patients?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? I think it could be totally life-changing. Think about it. Right now, someone gets diagnosed with an AAA. They have the EVA procedure,
Right.
and then they just have to wait and see if it worked.
And that could take months or even years.
Exactly, and it's a serious condition.
Yeah, that uncertainty must be so stressful.
Absolutely. But what if doctors could use this AI to tell someone, based on everything we know about you, we're confident that your AAA is going to shrink after the procedure.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay.
Wow. Yeah, that would make such a difference. It could reduce all that anxiety.
Totally.
And maybe people wouldn't need as many follow-up appointments.
Exactly. They could just focus on getting better.
That's really powerful. And it's not just about the patient's peace of mind.
Right.
This could also impact the whole healthcare system.
Absolutely.
If we can identify the patients who are most likely to do well after EVR, we can maybe avoid unnecessary testing and procedures for them.
Exactly. And that frees up resources for other people.
Wow, so it's about efficiency too.
Yeah. Being smarter about how we use our resources.
That's a win for everyone.
For sure. And don't forget, this AI is designed to show its work.
Right. The explainable AI.
So doctors can understand why it's making the predictions it is.
And that makes them feel more confident using it.
Exactly. It's like having an extra layer of information to help make decisions.
I like that. And this brings us to something else I've been thinking about.
Yeah, what's that?
What if we could use AI to predict who is going to develop in AAA in the first place?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be incredible.
We're talking about moving from treatment to prevention.
A complete paradigm shift.
Imagine if we could identify people at high risk
Okay.
and then do something to stop the AAA from forming.
Like lifestyle changes or early intervention.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It would be a game changer.
It really would. That's the ultimate
It
goal.
is. And even though we're not there yet,
Right.
this research shows us what might be possible.
It's so exciting.
I know. It shows just how much potential AI has.
To change how we approach healthcare.
Exactly.
I'm really optimistic about the future.
You too.
But like with any new technology, we have to be careful.
Oh, absolutely. We can't just start using this AI everywhere.
Right. It needs to be tested really well.
Rigorously tested, yeah.
And we have to make sure we're using it ethically.
Right. Thinking about patient privacy and safety.
We want to make sure this is a good thing for everyone.
Exactly. And it's important to remember this is just one study.
Yeah, it's a starting point.
We need a lot more research.
Uh-huh.
And we need doctors and scientists and engineers to all work together.
To keep pushing things forward.
It's a team effort.
This has been a really amazing deep dive.
It has. So cool to think about all this.
I'm leaving feeling so inspired and hopeful about the future.
Me too. It's a really exciting time.
Who knows what we'll discover next?
That's the beauty of science.
There's always more to learn. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into AI and AAA treatment.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep those brains buzzing.